Hey, what's up, NBA fan? What's up, all sports fan? This is JB right here, host of the Behind the Bench Podcast Network and channel. Just want to give a shout out to the rest of the crew. I'm talking about Shy, Kelvin, and Jermaine. And for everyone who's tuning in, I hope that you support Behind the Bench, become a subscriber, and help make this show the best that it can be. Now, this is what I've been wanting to talk about. I kind of wanted to wait till, I heard reactions about what happened, a lot of criticism, or whatnot. And I'm talking about Team USA, who represented the 2023 Fiba basketball tournament overseas there. And as we know, they did not win gold. They did not medal, and a lot of basketball fans feel disappointed. And I get it, because I was rooting for them, A lot of young up-and-coming stars, superstars and whatnot, trying to represent the red, white, and blue, as they say, along with the NBA and their respective franchise. There's a lot of pride in that, man. American basketball, representing United States, in their sport. And I get it. Now, people calling for the so-called the big dogs, the big names, the established superstar names and whatnot. But those superstars are getting older. Kevin Durant, who just led Team USA to the gold medal during the 2020 games over in Japan. And LeBron James, Steph Curry, Anthony Davis and whatnot. And I get it. But the problem is this American team who represented the country during FIBA basketball, they getting crapped on. I mean, they get crapped on something ugly. But the people who criticizing them, the pundits and whatnot, they're throwing them under the bus. They're not identifying the root of the problem. All you got to do is trace basketball to how it, as they would say, evolved, but in some respects, it devolved over the past 20 years, which led teams to rely on the three-point shot more than what they really should. The proliferation of the three-point shot convinced a lot of basketball minds that, and it started really in the early, I'm going to say the late 2000s, because you still had, in the early 2000s, you still had Shaquille O'Neal doing this thing, Shaq Diesel and whatnot. Yao Ming was a tremendous center in the NBA. It's just he was dealing with all those foot injuries throughout his career. But outside of that, man, he was top notch, and I really enjoyed watching Yao Ming play. But what has happened? Okay, let's go back real quick. Let's look at the original Dream Team, and I'm going to see if we can find the missing link, the root of the problem. They had Patrick Ewing, David Robinson, Karl Malone, Charles Barkley. Okay, Dream Team 2 featured the likes of Shaquille O'Neal, right? Sean Kemp, right? And I believe that was Shaq's second year in the league when they put together Dream Team 2 in 2004. And of course, Dream Team 3, right? You had the likes of, if I'm not mistaken, Hakeem Olajuwon, who was considered the best center in the game from like 94 to 96. Led Houston Rockets to back-to-back championships in 94 and 95. But you start seeing, and I'm trying to lead us to what the root of the problem is. So, okay, let's go. Okay, when the United States failed to medal, well, when they finished third in the 2004 Olympics in Athens, Greece. And they had to settle for the bronze. Then they put together the Redeem team, and they added players to the roster such as Dwight Howard, who was Defensive Player of the Year, best center in the game. You had a Chris Bosh out there. And then the Olympic team, American Olympic team of 2012 had Anthony Davis on there, right? And Tyson Chandler. You see where I'm getting at? You see what I'm getting at? And what has happened to American basketball really reflected and rose to the surface in the greatest way during this year's FIBA basketball tournament, where they had to start Jaren Jackson at the 5 spot when he's naturally a power forward. So he's playing out of position. And what I'm trying to identify is that the missing ingredient, if they would have had this one ingredient, more than likely they win the gold medal. You know what was missing? A bona fide, surefire center. In the United States, when it comes to basketball, over the past, I'm going to say 15 years, we have seen the center position become devalued. A lot of it has to do with rule changes when they eliminated the ability for centers to defend the paint accordingly by implementing the 3-second defensive rule that forced centers to defend outside of that restricted area within 6 feet of the basket. So over time, where you had dominant centers who not only could defend and deter shots in terms of shot blocking and rebound at a high clip, like your Hakeem Olajuwon, David Robinson's, Patrick Ewing, Shaquille O'Neal's, and Lonzo Mourning's, people like that, or Dwight Howard in his prime. That position has been reduced to rim protectors. They're not even a main feature of the offense. So the center position has regressed over time, and they've relied on premier wing players such as, exclusively like your KDs, LeBron James, your Carmelo Anthony's, people like that, to lead that effort in terms of Olympic and international play. So, but ironically, the international teams, like the European teams, like Australia, whatnot, or like the Canadian team, they are playing NBA basketball like actual American generated teams played basketball during the 80s and 90s. All your top big men are bona fide centers or international born. Nikola Jokic, Joel Embiid, right? Giannis Antetokounmpo. So Jonas Valanciunas, even in Ivica Zubac, or Vitsa Zubats, who was drafted by the Lakers, by the way. If he was given the necessary minutes per 36 minutes, he's going to give you 18, 20 points a game. The stats show it. So before they crap on the roster of what they didn't do, they need to get to the root of the problem, is that this year's American team had no center. And the competition feasted on it, and mainly they lost due to the discrepancy or disadvantage when it comes to points in the paint. And that was the difference. So before we start crapping on this Team USA, let's look to the root of the problem, and it's because of the centered position in American basketball being devalued over the past 15 years, and it reared its ugly head during this FIBA tournament. So I just want to drop that nugget. This is JB right here. Until next time, BTB, behind the bench.